Institution Online is offered to you by the African Council for the Media.
Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, known by its acronym ZEC, says it is ready for tomorrow's harmonized elections with ballot papers, the voters' roll, and other electoral paraphernalia having been dispatched to all the provinces. The announcement by ZEC chairperson Justice Rita Makoro comes as the Zimbabwean election has generated a lot of interest, with 887 foreign journalists being accredited to cover the polls against 447 local scribes. In Zimbabwe again, the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa Observer Mission says Africa has the capacity to resolve its own conflicts without external interference. The leader of COMESA Observer Mission, Ambassador Bethuel Kiplagat, said this while responding to questions by journalists at the launch of the regional bloc's mission last Friday. Now moving over to Rwanda, Prime Minister Pierre-Damien Haburumemyi opened the 16th International Trade Fair Expo, which will take place over 2 weeks at Gikondo Expo grounds. The expo hopes to link businesses to markets, promote the manufacturing sector in the region through international and local exhibitors. Opening the fair, Prime Minister Haburumemyi said that the expo is a good opportunity for Rwandan manufacturers to learn what other manufacturers from other countries do to improve their products in order to make them competitive. In Rwanda again, statement by His Excellency Louis Mushikiwabo, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation at the Security Council debate on the situation in the Great Lakes region. Wabo made appraisal to the U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry for convening this most important debate in support of the Peace and Security and Cooperation PSC framework and for the presidential statement just adopted. Now in Mali, Prime Minister receives John Kufuor and Kadri Desiré Ouédraogo, respectively Chief Observer Mission and the President of the ECOWAS Commission. The former Ghanaian President John Kufuor and Kadri Desiré Ouédraogo were the first two persons to be received by the Malian Prime Minister Diango Sissoko Monday, July 29, after voting. They were very pleased with the conduct of the presidential elections held yesterday. In Sudan, markets in the country's capital, Khartoum, have witnessed a significant increase in the prices of clothing, accessories, toys, and perfumes just a week before the Eid al-Fitr, a religious holiday celebrated by Muslims worldwide that marks the end of Ramadan, the Islamic holy month of fasting. The price increases is coupled with a new low for the Sudanese pound against the US dollar. In Sudan again, South Sudan's former Vice President Riek Machar on Sunday renewed calls for calm among citizens, insisting that President Salva Kiir had the right to remove him from office. Addressing a congregation, Machar said it is a constitutional mandate of the president to remove and form a government. This is within the powers of the president. There should be no violence. In Equatorial Guinea, meeting of the Minister of Mines with the fuel providers, head of the Department of Mines, Industry and Energy, Gabriel Mbaga Obiang Lima, has expressed discontent to both the ministry and the government, and especially to the public, toward the entities that provide fuel in the country for the failure in distribution observed in recent days. He also apologized to the people affected by this crisis. In Equatorial Guinea again, award for the Equatorial Guinean jurist Sergio Abeso. The High Institute of Law and Economic of Spain, known by its acronym ISDE, has recognized the work of the Equatorial Guinean lawyer and jurist Sergio Abeso Tomo by presenting him with the International Legal Award ISDE 2013 in the category of Private International Law. The government portal reads release of fund to fight HIV/AIDS in the transport corridors. The Labour Minister Helena Taipo just launched in Maputo the Innovation Fund for Economic Empowerment of People vulnerable to contamination by HIV/AIDS along the transport corridors in Mozambique. According to Taipo, the fund was provided by the International Labour Organization ILO to fund initiatives for vulnerable groups, especially in the informal sector, especially women and girls. Mumia Sugar Company Board of Directors has been taken to task over the company's poor performance. At a meeting with President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto, members of parliament from Western Kenya asked that directors of the sugar company be summoned to explain what they saw as a downward spiral. The meeting was convened to discuss the Jubilee's development agenda for the region. Now in Zimbabwe, President Mugabe is confident ZANU-PF will run to victory today and says the policies of his new government will be underpinned by indigenization and economic empowerment with focus on resuscitating the manufacturing sector. Addressing a press conference for local and foreign journalists in Harare yesterday, the president dismissed claims in some quarters that he had the power to manipulate elections. In Zimbabwe again, farmers have predicted a landslide victory for President Mugabe in today's harmonized elections. Most farmers yesterday said they were going to vote in huge numbers in support of President Mugabe, who brought economic independence. They said they were liberated in 1980 but got economic independence through land reform. In Rwanda, a nation holds climate change experts to discuss protecting the environment in the developing world. In its drive to protect its environment, Rwanda is hosting a workshop with countries that have similar challenges to discuss long-term adaptation to climate change. The 5-day seminar brings together 80 specialists from Anglophone least developed countries. By President Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma at the launching ceremony of the Constitutional Review Committee on 30 July 2013. He said, "We are gathered to launch the committee that will review the constitution of the country. It is a committee constituted from people of every region, political affiliation and socio-economic group to perform a sacred task." In Sierra Leone again, the ambassadors of Lebanon, Nidal Yahya, and the Kingdom of Morocco, Majid Halim, presented their letters of credence of His Excellency President Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma at State House on Wednesday, July 24th. President Koroma expressed hope that they would work towards further strengthening bilateral relations and the already close ties between their respective countries and the Republic of Sierra Leone. South Sudanese former Vice President Riek Machar on Tuesday congratulated the country's citizens for honoring millions of people who lost their lives during the liberation struggle in pursuit for independence. Machar, also the deputy chairperson of the ruling Sudan People's Liberation Movement (SPLM), issued a statement on July 30, while the entire country commemorated its Martyrs' Day. In Sudan again, cracks within the leadership of South Sudan's ruling Sudan's Liberation Movement (SPLM) appear to be widening as its leader Salva Kiir Mayardit broke his silence on Tuesday, July 30, accusing his former deputy Riek Machar of disrespect and insubordination to the party leadership. In Mali, Pan-African Women's Day commitment for the construction of the country. Today marks Pan-African Women's Day celebration. This year's theme at the continental level is 50 years after the creation of the OPF. What are our expectations? Given the situation in Mali, the Ministry of Family and the Promotion of Women and Children and the Regional Executive Secretariat of the OPF chose the theme engaging women in the construction of Mali. President Uhuru Kenyatta has held talks with former President Daniel Moi at State House, Nairobi. During the meeting, they discussed regional peace initiatives. The meeting came a day after the 6th Extraordinary Summit of Heads of State and Government on the International Conference of the Great Lakes Region, known by its acronym ICGLR. In Kenya again, the president has condemned the inhuman manner in which a court order to evict families at Narasha in Nakuru County was executed. President Kenyatta said officers executing lawful orders should be humane and respect the basic rights of other Kenyans. Now moving over to Equatorial Guinea, on July 10th, a meeting of the Subcommittee on Human Rights was held in the European Parliament building in Brussels, Belgium. During the meeting, the ambassador of Equatorial Guinea in Belgium, Camelo Mvono Nka, presented the significant progress in the country on this project. In Equatorial Guinea again, the 14th anniversary of the enthronement of King Mohammed VI of Morocco was the reason for the reception in the Hotel de Agosto in Malabo. The celebration was designed to commemorate the 14th anniversary of the coronation of King Mohammed VI. Sudan President Salva Kiir has reinstated 2 senior administrators suspended from his office over corruption allegations nearly 4 months back. The president in April suspended Mayen Wol, a chief administrator in office, and Yel Luol, an executive director, after huge sums of money in both foreign and local currencies went missing from the presidency. Sudan again, Sudan's complaints against Uganda over its alleged support to rebel groups to the International Conference on the Great Lakes Region (ICGLR) will be discussed by the regional organ in the near future. This was announced by the Foreign Ministry on Thursday. A notice which says the travel on buses carriers Express Company Municipal Bus Maputo EMTPM shall be compulsorily collected through the electronic ticket Mborala as from Thursday. According to a news release issued by the municipal public carrier, passengers who want to travel in those carriers should ensure they have an electronic ticket or pass loaded with enough credit for passage. Cameroon and POSCO signed 2 MOUs. The South Korean group POSCO and the government of Cameroon have signed 2 memoranda of understanding in the steel sector. The ceremony took place at the Star Building on July 23rd under the watchful eyes of the Prime Minister, head of government Philemon Yang. Of power sector by past governments responsible for decay. The Minister of Power, Professor Chinedu Nebo, has directed that all issues surrounding metering and unfair building should be resolved immediately without any Nigerian being shortchanged. The minister expressed regret that the sector's neglect has been as a result of the wrong notion which classified power as a social welfare service. In Nigeria, Youth Development Ministry unveils strategic framework, 6 paradigm shifts, conscious of the imperative of achieving the strategic objectives laid down for the youth development sector under the transformation agenda. The Minister of Youth Development, Inuwa Abdul Kadi, has presented a new strategic framework designed to speed up national transformation of the sector to the public.